Welcome to Viewattitudes in the Morning. My name is Victor Irving Jenkins. Who likes to be criticized? Anyone? You like to be criticized? I don't think anyone likes to be criticized. Who, on the other hand, likes to give their opinion? We all like to give our opinion, don't we? Well, this morning's Viewattitude is about criticism versus opinion. Now, generally speaking, criticism is usually leveled at someone other than you, right? So it's leveled outward. The thing I want to say about criticism is simply, never criticize a man until you have walked a mile in his shoes. Now, you may think that's an obvious advice, but maybe not. Let me make it more obvious for you. First of all, if you criticize a man and you've walked a mile in his shoes, well, you're a mile from him, aren't you? And to make things even better, you have his shoes. A little bit of humor for Viewattitudes in the morning. You can chat into us on the chat box if you want, and we may or may not see the chat box, but in any case, this video will be posted on social media later on today. The reason I'm talking about this is that so many of us are caught up in giving our opinions, we sometimes forget that maybe your opinion is not as important as you think. I had a good friend of mine told me, well, Victor, I have to give my opinion. No, you don't have to give your opinion. One of the reasons that you don't have to give your opinion is how critical the things that come out of your mouth are. Would you believe that the things that come out of your mouth also has an effect on you? In the Bible, they were talking about the things that defile you. You shouldn't eat meat. You shouldn't eat this kind of meat. You should purify this kind of meat. Well, the word came down that it is not what goes into your mouth that defiles you. It is what comes out of your mouth. And I can guarantee you this. What comes out of your mouth says more about you than it does about the thing you're speaking about. When you speak about a person, when you criticize a person, you basically give everyone an idea of where your head is at, or you wouldn't have thought of it that way. This thing called the heart sometimes tricks us to such a degree that we believe that what's on our mind is really and truly the way that it ought to be. When we look at someone as they are accomplishing whatever it is that they're accomplishing, we are so sure and so caught up that we believe that what we're thinking is the way that it is. Well, there are as many different Viewattitudes as there are people on the face of the earth. I just want to share that with you. Now, you may look at me and think that something I'm doing doesn't come up to par. I may look at you and think that something that you're doing doesn't come up to par. Well, I can assure you this. If I think that something that you're doing doesn't come up to par, well, you will never hear it from me. We all have certain things that we must do, and talking is one of those things. The mistake I think that we make is that we must tell the person that we have the opinion about how we feel. These things that we carry in our body, sometimes the only way to release them is to speak about them, but you don't necessarily have to say it to a person. Say, for instance, I think you have a funny looking hat. Well, you're not wearing your hat for me, are you? And your hat may indeed look funny to me, but how's it going to feel to you if I say that you have a funny looking hat? I take that same hat and put it on and look in the mirror, I may think I am just awesome with that hat, and of course you have an opinion about that. Some time ago, I saw a movie talking about Pancho Villa. And this story is just to illustrate how your opinion changes depending on where you are and how you are. It's a story to explain why what comes out of your mouth says more about you than what you're talking about. Pancho Villa was a peasant at one time, and he had a problem with El Presidente. So he gathered a few of the townspeople, and he went to the palace, and he had a word with El Presidente. El Presidente this, El Presidente that. We don't like this, we don't like that. Well, El Presidente, being a person with a little savvy, he knew that if he could eliminate the leadership, that he could get his peasants back under control. So he pointed out to Pancho Villa and says, "You there, what is your name?" And of course he goes, I am Pancho Villa. Well, the El Presidente had a list of all the people that were coming to the palace that day, and he put a little mark by Pancho Villa, telling himself that Pancho Villa was a troublemaker. That's what he thought at the time. So eventually, Pancho Villa and the peasants, they had an uprising, and they overthrew El Presidente, and guess who became the new El Presidente? Why, it was Pancho Villa, of course. And things went along fine for a while. All the peasants loved him because he was now one of them, and they all felt particularly close to him. But in due time, as Pancho Villa, the now El Presidente, is sitting up in the palace, in comes a delegate of peasants. They're unhappy. They think that what Pancho Villa is doing is wrong. So they want to overthrow the government. So Pancho Villa, being a good El Presidente, he welcomed them in and sat on his throne. And as he sat there and listened to the leader of the delegate of the peasants, he says to the leader, "You there, what's your name?" And of course the guy said his name, and his name is not important for the story, but it was then that Pancho realized that he had become the person that he had most despised. They say that absolute power absolutely corrupts, and that may or may not be the case, but even no matter what absolute power does, we must be concerned about what comes out of our mouth. Because each time we criticize someone, each time we say something that's unflattering, it has an effect on us. Now you may think that what's going on is not good. You may think that it's hurting you, or you may think that it's hurting others. But nothing can hurt you as much as the things that you say. So guard the words that come out of your mouth. Be careful with the things that you say. And keep in mind that the way that you feel about something, it really does always go away. The only time it doesn't go away is when you resist it. And you resist it by criticizing it. So that's our view attitude of the morning. We hope it has benefited you. And if it has benefited you, we would love to hear from you. Place your comments and your thoughts below in our chat box. And please, tune in next time as we present to you Viewattitudes in the Morning. My name is Victor Irving Jenkins. Bye for now.